It's almost finally here. Just about 2 years since the idea was originally announced and 1 year just about since the original deadline. The Night Tube begins this evening at midnight. Well, a big occasion for London, but let's just take a look at how the system will work. Two lines will be featured first, the Victoria line running between Walthamstow Central and Brixton, the whole line on that one running 24 hours on Friday and Saturday. Meanwhile, the Central line, a bit of a reduced service on that one. We'll see certain stations omitted from their schedule, but the same there, 24 hours between Friday and Saturday. When it comes to fares, standard off-peak fares will apply, just like during the day, but day travel cards will also be valid until 4:30 the day after you've bought them. So really helping Londoners out there who've bought their day travel cards. Meanwhile, daily capping on Oyster cards also applies. Well, the Mayor of London took a short tour around the tube system last night to get an idea of how it all works. He said the reason why they're only starting with 2 services is because they don't want to start with a big bang and then have errors and mistakes, and it really gives them a chance to iron out some of the problems like noise, police staffing, and of course bus timetables that were introduced earlier this week. Well, as I said, it's been a long and storied history for the Night Tube, a huge effort to get it done. I've been taking a look at how the whole saga of the 24-hour tube system unfolded.
The introduction of the Night Tube began all the way back in mid-2014. The former Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, and Transport for London announced a partial 24-hour service for certain lines. 6 trains per hour on the Jubilee, Victoria, Piccadilly, Central and Northern lines. The problems started almost immediately.
We've been presented with the rosters from hell.
They're being asked to work even more antisocial hours.
Several unions representing underground staff were worried, claiming they'd found out about the plans in the media rather than Transport for London or the Mayor. And the Rail, Maritime and Transport Union called the plans a disaster waiting to happen. Nevertheless, a date was set for the official launch, September the 12th, 2015. And Londoners welcomed the thought of a 24-hour capital.
It's an excellent idea, though I won't be taking it.
No, I'm looking forward to it, because it's going to make travelling at night easier.
But then, after months of uncertainty and arguments about pay deals and working hours, the strikes began.
The tube strike already starting to cause problems this evening. Services coming to a halt across the capital.
The tube strike. I'm stuck in traffic on my way to Liverpool Street.
Union members held their first strike in July 2015, with a 24-hour walkout on all tube lines, the largest strike on the Underground in 10 years. With commuters forced to walk through London to get to work, or skip work altogether. Talks were held between unions and TfL to prevent further strike action, with the result being an indefinite pushback of the service's start date. And for a while, the former mayor was still sure of a late 2015 beginning for the Night Tube.
It'll be in the autumn, as I've always said.
But after talks broke down in October, this deadline was extended, with a start date summed up with one word: eventually. Then, in March this year, a breakthrough. The RMT union voted in favour of new pay and conditions offered by TfL, quickly followed by ASLEF, the train drivers' union. In May, an election.
I therefore declare Sadiq Khan to be elected as the new Mayor of London.
The new Mayor, Sadiq Khan, promises, among other things, a fares freeze and 0 strikes, followed by an official start date, August 19th, for the whole Victoria line and part of the Central line. The rest of the lines will follow later in the autumn. And earlier this week, Sadiq Khan promised extra police officers for the launch, for those worried about crime on the Underground during the early hours of the morning. But there are still concerns from the unions. RMT chief Mick Cash warned that the Night Tube cannot be delivered on the cheap. And with TfL set to lose £2.8 billion by 2019 due to cuts to government funding, and the effects of Sadiq Khan's rail fare freeze still unclear, only one thing is certain. After almost 2 years of planning, disputes and resolution, the London Underground is rolling into the future.
Well, as you heard in that piece there are still concerns about cost and concerns from unions, but there's also concerns about accessibility. The charity Muscular Dystrophy UK says that out of 52 stations on the night tube, only 7 are step-free access, which really puts people out who rely on that access to get around London. Well, there are benefits as well. Predictions from London Underground say that 200,000 people will be using the system every weekend. Meanwhile, the business group London First says that 77 million could be brought into the economy every year by 2029. Lots to look forward to this evening, but will be interesting to wait and see what's going to happen over the next few years with this very important project.